We're live.
All right. Ended up being a 12-point game. All right.
What was it? Long time like that?
All right.
Right.
3, 2, 1.
A slow clap, I think. A slow clap. A slow clap.
Yes.
Slow clap.
And I had to be as quiet as possible.
Yes.
So it's Walker's 10-month birthday today. Everyone wish him a round of applause. A round of
The Sixers honored him well with
They
that performance.
really, hey, the young kids at the end though almost made that a close game. So
They did. They did.
I had to do a silent clap, much like when NFL teams do the silent count, so that they don't, everything has to be in order.
Audibly.
Cannot have them wake up again. So, welcome on in. Another edition of Clap Your Hands. Jack Fritz, Elliott Shore Parks, presented by Miller Lite. We'll obviously get into this later, but I thought we'd probably plug events as we
presented by Coors Light. Yeah.
Presented by Coors Light.
Yeah.
But the event next Thursday out at McGurk's in Horsham. So we'll be out there hanging out, talking Sixers. We promise to only talk Sixers because that's what we are known for.
Two basketball guys hanging out at McGurk's talking Sixers.
Yeah.
All of our appearances at McGurk's have been Sixers related. So
for sure.
It'll be good.
McGurk's is amazing. It's one of my. I think it's safe to say it's one of my favorite places on earth. So come on out, and I promise we will not talk about what just happened in Indiana. It was a vintage letdown performance. Elliot, how you doing tonight, buddy?
Well, first let me say to piggyback off the McGurk's thing. Everyone should really come out. Like, obviously, you have high hopes. I have Go Birds. It would be awesome to meet some clap your hands people to come out and talk Sixers with. So I do hope that we get a good turnout. And maybe I'm talking about that still because that game, look, I know I'm known, I guess, for having spicy takes, but my opinion of that game is pretty simple. I don't think it's an indictment on Maxey. I don't think it shows the roster isn't good enough, that they have to make a trade. We know those things about this roster. We know that they're probably still one piece away from being viewed as one of the top 3 or 4 teams in the league. I think they're very close to it regardless, but I don't believe tonight showed they have to make a move. Tonight didn't make me think that the Pacers with Pascal Siakam are all of a sudden going to beat the Sixers in the playoffs, because I don't believe that's going to happen. I actually think, we'll get into this in a little bit, in honor of Doc Rivers, this was a schedule loss. This one to me felt like they came out and they were just riding the high of the 70-point game. I know it wasn't a big emotional win over the Spurs because who cares about the Spurs? They're not a rival or anything like that. But I do think they just came out sloppy. They were doing a ton of celebrating, obviously, after that 70-point performance by Embiid. Embiid still ended up with 31, didn't get the 10 rebounds. So, they didn't hit the 30 and 10 mark. But I just think tonight was one of those nights. And I think you saw it in the fact that when the backups came in and the Pacers left their starters in for a while, it was really the Sixers backup versus the starters for quite a bit, probably 7-8 minutes. They made it close. I think if the Sixers starters would have came out, hit shots early on, played better defense, but really just had more effort, this is a game they would have won. But I felt like they came out flat. They didn't play well. Maxey wasn't great. We'll get into that. But yeah, it was just a schedule loss in honor of the return of Doc Rivers.
Yeah, so I mostly agree. I mostly agree with schedule loss. I'm not gonna get too overworked by them getting blown out by the Pacers tonight. Although 12 points is not a blowout.
But we all know what they were down 20 plus the majority of that game.
Let's give credit where credit is due. The boys fought back hard at the end. So I mean, the 70-point game was obviously an emotional high for them. Having to go to Loserville, Indianapolis. Yeah, it's probably what, 15 degrees. It's
I've been to Indianapolis. Cold. I'll be there in a month for the combine. Not a place you get super excited to go to. So I'm glad we found things to blame it on: the location, the city. The schedule. I mean, we are knocking all the excuses out for this loss.
No one better. I will say, why do they choose Indianapolis for the combine? Can they just?
It's absurd.
Can they pick a real city?
The funniest thing about why they picked the combine is
thank you for James changed the title here.
Yeah, Sixers almost get blown out in Indy. See, this is why you have to be watching this live. You see those type of things. Wow, first comment in the chat. Ellie wanted to draft a guy who isn't in the league anymore over Embiid. Just never gonna live that one down. There it is, right there.
It is ridiculous. And again, we don't want to pick on an old man. But Rendell was way worse. I mean, like,
yeah, Doug McDermott. But really quick, since we're on this tangent, apparently the reason they pick Indianapolis for the combine is because the hospitals are really close to like the arena, so they can do all the medicals and then also have them close to like the workouts. I really think the reason is it's because it's like kind of in the middle. There's only like so many places for everybody to congregate. So look, I'll be there in a month.
But that's a horrible reason. Chicago's
I agree. There. I agree. I don't think they want to do a major city. I just think they're like, it's a dumb thing that why they're doing this. But yeah.
What are you going to do the important things? Okay. Now you gave your little tangent about the Pacers real quick. I think the Pacers are good.
No.
Yes. No. I think they are. I think they would be a tough out in a 7-game series. I really.
Yeah. Do. Like, how many do you think they're taking the Sixers?
I think they take the Sixers to 6 games. Like,
wow.
I think if I had to put percentages on them beating the Pacers in a 7-game series, I put it like 60% confidence.
And no Halliburton tonight, too.
And no Halliburton tonight. Like, Siakam, so the only reason that Siakam was still in is they needed him for the triple-double. So,
yes.
You know, he got that. I like it. I would have traded for Siakam. I think he's a good player.
I would not, man. He seems like such a guy, just like a guy. Like, maybe he's a little, I think he's Toby. Like, he's basically Toby, only maybe like 15% better. And for what it's worth, tonight, didn't have Toby, didn't have Melton. They're missing a bunch of guys. Didn't have Mo Bamba. Didn't have who?
Did you just have Mo Bamba?
I'm just thinking
plays once a week. He plays once a week.
Whatever. They didn't have him. They were out like 6 guys. They only have 15 players on the roster. Yeah, no Marcus Morris. Yes, no Covington. So they were missing quite a bit of guys, for what it's worth. I don't know if that all equals up to Halliburton, but they were missing a bunch of guys.
Yeah, the Pacers were missing Tyrese Halliburton, who's an all-star starter, who I know James Jackson is just furious about. Like, he is – I've never seen this more upset about anything in the history of this podcast than Tyrese Halliburton being an all-star starter over – actually, I think it's Lillard, because Lillard does not deserve to be an all-star starter over Jalen Brunson. That's ridiculous. But I think that Pacers – like, again, I've been over this. We've talked about this. I think there's 6 teams that could theoretically win the East. I think there's the Bucks and the Celtics are the best.
Yeah.
But and am I talking? Are you talking to a guy that does have the Pacers plus 5,000 to win the East? Yes, you are.
Oh my God.
Is that down to plus 2,500? Yes, it is. So
cash out.
Well, I can only cash out for the money I get back, which is ridiculous. I'm on to them. No, but like they have dude, they could score with anyone. I mean, having to get torched by Miles Turner tonight was because Miles Turner is about as soft as Charmin.
I agree. Yeah,
I mean,
I agree with that.
There's few players I would like to get torched by less. In a Cat and Miles Turner.
Cat is up there. And by the way, so on this last pod, since we're just going to be all over the place, on the last pod we were like doing it during like Cats. What do you end up with? Like 60 something?
What a loser.
Yeah, 62. The way that game was perceived compared to Embiid's is unbelievable. Like the coach after the game is basically like, that was loser basketball or something like that. Meanwhile, Embiid, and granted they won versus losing, but Embiid, like they're getting water poured on him and everyone's celebrating. Cat really is like one of the most cursed superstars ever. Anything he does just gets perceived as like complete loser stuff. And maybe he deserves it. But you have to feel for the guy that dropped 62 and his own coach is like clowning him at the podium after.
Well, yeah. And like it just speaks so much to the culture of that team.
Yep.
And like we got to get Anthony Edwards out of there before, the Minnesota.
He gets ruined like Cat.
Yeah. Because like after the game, he's like, yeah. We kind of wanted Cat to score 100. And did you see the story? Did you see the story that they were like they went in at halftime and they were getting
they were checking Embiid,
and then I guess they were like yelling it to him on the court, like it's like.
So here's my take on that. That while it is loser stuff, I think if the Sixers players are doing it for Embiid, we would probably be like, look at this team, look how much they cared. Yeah, the vibes, exactly. The vibes.
The vibes are out of control.
Not tonight in Indy, but
no, not tonight. Well, again, scheduled loss, bad city, cold. I mean, what do you really want? Like, what do you want a basketball team to do?
Let me ask you this.
Yes.
Is Toby more important than we give him credit for?
Well, so I actually had it written down as something to talk about. Because Toby's obviously their 3rd best player, right? Like we don't have to argue that. It's always just how great is Toby. Like Toby's a good player. The problem with Toby is that whenever you put any semblance of responsibility on him, he seems to crater. Like he's that kind of. He's like the kid in the group project. There is like the teacher knows you have to like do little things, and you try to put too much on his plate.
Yeah, you make sure he's in the group.
Yeah, he immediately screws it up. Like
Yeah.
that's Toby. Clearly a good player. Like worth 37 million, absolutely not. Um, the biggest thing for me is who's their fourth best player.
So I used to think it was Oubre. I don't think it's
Dude,
Oubre anymore.
he
He's cooled off considerably.
back.
Yeah.
This is Kelly Oubre.
Yeah. This is not ideal. So I used to say it was Oubre. I don't know. I mean, maybe it's Melton. Obviously, Melton didn't play tonight.
I mean,
Melton would probably be their fourth best player.
It's probably Batum.
Oh yeah, Batum. Yeah.
It's probably, but still, like again, Nicholas Batum being your fourth best player, like that's not a recipe for success.
The especially big problem with that is if he's going to be your fourth best player, your second player has to be unbelievable. Yes. And while I don't believe tonight was an indication like Maxey can't do it in the playoffs, because look, Maxey scored 50 points the last time he played the Pacers. So I don't think this is like a bad matchup for him or anything like that. His shots just didn't go in. He started 1 of 8 from 3. It just felt like he wasn't really making his shots. But I think Maxey, especially, like, I don't want to compare him to Ben Simmons, but I do feel like when Maxey isn't getting going, it's almost like he's not even on the court. Like he just kind of like disappears from the game. And I think you saw that a little bit tonight with him. And the worry is that if, again, like Toby's going to be your third guy, when pressure goes on, he can't do anything. And Batum, while a very nice role player, like he's not going to give you 25 points in a game. It's the same thing we come back to in every pod, but it was once again present tonight that if Maxey's not being Maxey, and I think another thing that happened tonight too, while Embiid finished with 31, and he certainly was scoring early on in the game, it felt like one of the rare games where Embiid came out and wasn't like setting the tone immediately for the whole roster. And when Embiid doesn't set the tone for the team, they don't have anybody else to do it. Like, I think that's one of the underrated parts of having multiple real, true all-stars on your roster. It isn't just the level of skill. Obviously, that helps, but the emotional responsibility Embiid has every night to make sure he's the one that comes out and gets the team going. Like it isn't just about the play. It's about he's the one that has to step out there and make sure they're always ready to go. And he's done a great job of that this year. Obviously, I mean, he's been the best player in the league and he's been especially good in the first 3 quarters and the first quarter. So he has been that guy. But that's why I thought tonight, like he just didn't feel like he had that in him early on. And when he doesn't have it, Maxey doesn't really have it either. Like as much as we like to talk about Maxey smiling and how happy he looks and all that, sometimes I feel like when Embiid needs Maxey, he's not always there to like pick it up. I think there's times where Embiid's playing well or Maxey can do it, but it doesn't feel like when Embiid needs Maxey, he's there to step up.
Well, and I think that's kind of why I was more of the opinion go after a guy like Siakam, because I do think that you could throw him the ball and he can do something when Embiid isn't really going or Maxey's not going. Because I still, early in the year, it was like, wow, Maxey's really taking that step forward. And I've just soured on that. Like he's definitely taken a step forward. He is all-star caliber player, which is really valuable. But it's just second best player on a title team. Can he carry them? Like early in the season, when Embiid was off the floor, it felt like the Maxey minutes weren't a total disaster. And it might be as simple as if he's hitting his shots, he's fine. If he's not, if he's hitting his threes, he's fine. And if he's not, he's just not. Because he can't.
Well, what's worrisome about that? Not to interject, but that's what was said about Harden.
Yeah, obviously, Maxey has more explosion.
Yes,
and he doesn't like. I feel like Harden would just dribble.
Well, Harden would give up. Like I think while Maxey disappears, you always feel like Maxey like wants to do it.
But Harden just floats. Like Maxey just floats sometimes, and he's just kind of out there. Whereas Harden, I feel like I just noticed when Harden wasn't doing anything. It's kind of
Harden
like
still demanded the ball.
Yeah, it's sort of like Oubre. Like now I'm starting to notice him getting destroyed on back picks or like getting lost on defense and not really being totally locked in out there. Like I've noticed that stuff now because he hasn't made a freaking 3 in 2 months, 2 weeks. It doesn't seem like. And like I feel like it just his shot is absolutely cratered. I feel like Maxey's 3-point shot is not near, like he's still shooting like 9 a game, and like he'll get 3 usually, but it's not the 6 of 11 or like he was doing a little bit early in the year. Like a lot of the little things we were kind of loving about the team early in the year starting to take a step back. Besides Embiid, and speaking of who's the fourth best player on the Sixers, it's probably Batum. The only problem with that is that theoretically, him, Covington, Morris, they're all like the same ish kind of player. Like who's ever hitting their threes that night is the guy. So the depth is good, but like there's so clearly a trade of Morris or Covington that like needs to happen because like it's like a log jam.
Well, a couple things off that. One, I think a lot about the point you made of how with the Denver Nuggets, they have obviously Jokic, they have Murray, and then they just have like great role players. And when this team is really clicking, that's what they look like, especially this year with how well Embiid moves the ball. But I think the problem is to jump back to what I was saying about Maxey is like Batum can't be the tone setter. Like Melton can't be the tone setter. Toby, we know, has seen repeatedly cannot be the tone setter. So that's where Maxey, I think, needs to mature next. Because if you look at him as a player this year, like he's improved, but he's kind of still the same guy. Like he's making a ton of threes. I think he's been better getting to the basket, at least early on in the season he was. He's been good taking care of the ball.
He has some good drives to the rim tonight.
Yeah. And look, I love watching him drive to the rim. Like it reminds me of Iverson. It'll always be near and dear to my heart watching a guard drive to the rim. Yep. But I mean, he clearly doesn't have like the attitude that Iverson had. Like he doesn't have that like, give me the ball, I'm going to take over this game attitude. He can do it in stretches, like, but it's not an every night thing. And so yeah, like I also think something that's sorry, go ahead.
Well, I mean, is Maxey improved because Harden's not there, and it's by default because he's touching the ball more?
I think that's part of it.
So
for sure.
So is he really that much of a different player, or is it just the same ish player? Probably better around the rim. I would say definitely better at finishing. But is it essentially the same player, and it's just he has the ball more because James Harden isn't there?
Well, and also, and I apologize, I don't remember where this is from, but I saw something about how they want to acquire someone to handle the ball because they want to move Maxey off ball.
I think it was Pompey.
Was it Pompey? Okay, yeah. So Keith Pompey of the Inquirer, so they can move Maxey off ball. That doesn't feel
big journalist there. Yeah,
Keith like
Pompey
that
of the Inquirer.
Yeah,
right.
proper
credit. Does he objectively cover the Sixers?
That is the job. Objectively covers the Sixers. And yes. Oh God. But that's not a shot at Keith, to be clear. But no, but I do think the thing about Maxey is that if they feel they need a ball handler, I think that's more about somebody, not that's going to be as good as Maxey, but somebody that they feel can kind of be the adult on the offense when Embiid doesn't have it. I think that's what that is about. I think Maxey's still going to be the top scorer on the perimeter. Mm-hmm. I don't think the guy they acquire will be the top scorer or take more shots than Maxey. They just need somebody that I also thought early on Embiid wasn't getting the ball in great spots. Like it felt like a lot. He was getting it straight at the perimeter. I feel like last year Harden did a great job of getting him the ball in great spots. And Embiid's having a good year. So it's not like that's been a problem. But I think tonight especially, they would have benefited. Now, granted, Beverly started, but they would have benefited more from having like a legit point guard starting next to Maxey.
Yeah, the problem is like those guys just aren't out there. Like do I want them to go get like Chris Paul? Do I want them to go get like?
I'm a little more in on Chris Paul than I used to be.
Do I want to go to like a Monte Morris?
Titus Jones or whoever everyone keeps talking about.
I love Tyus Jones. Just like he's one of those guys I watch and it's like, well, you should shoot like 8 times a game from 3. He just never does. He's always like 1 of 3 or 2 of 3 from 3. So like I think he's good. He's obviously more of a traditional. I think he had like a ridiculous turnoverless streak.
You know what I love that both me and you do? We couch so many things with like I think. I feel like I'm never 100% sure, and I'm so afraid Sixers Twitter is going to come after me and be like, "Well, actually, he had a turnover and move on." Yeah, yes, exactly.
Once again, we couch it by saying think. Just so
so we're not sure. We're just saying we think. Saying we think.
Pretty sure.
Yeah.
Pretty sure he had it. But
interesting one from the comments. Kyle Lowry buyout.
Yeah, I was going to get to that a little bit later.
Sorry. No.
Yeah, way to jump ahead, but sorry.
That's why
I didn't know we were producing the show through the comment section. It's interesting. But like DeJounte's the big one, Like if they want someone that can score, pass, because in San Antonio he was way more of that. Like he was way more of have the assists.
He still averages almost 6 assists, I think.
Yeah, but obviously Trae Young brings the ball up more.
Yeah.
So he's playing more off ball. You switch that around here. Let Maxey play off ball. You have DeJounte Murray, who can can score when he wants to, but is more of a Fuller general is not the right term. He's a pretty good mix of both.
He's a guy. Like I think he steps on any court and feels like he's one of the best players there. And I'm not saying Maxey doesn't feel that way, but I think Murray carries himself that way.
Doesn't it seem like Maxey has to be pushed to be aggressive?
Yes, for sure.
And while that's good that you like to defer, I mean, a little bit of killer instinct would be good as well.
I know you're down on LaVine. We don't have to talk about him tonight, but I do think that's what LaVine brings. LaVine brings, he will shoot you out of games, but he will also carry you through spurts because he feels that he can be the best player on the court. Like Maxey doesn't, I don't think Maxey has that to me. Maxey doesn't step on the court and feels like I'm the best player here. I'm better than you. Like, I don't know if Maxey was drafted late. I don't know what it is, but Murray, LaVine, like those guys feel like they step on the court and they know that they are like the shit.
Two things. One, hilarious that the Pistons are trying to get into the LaVine.
I know
him on the Pistons is perfect, right? I mean, It's perfect. It was pretty bold. They were asking for Cade Cunningham in return, but respect the ask.
Respect the hustle. That's what Morey would do.
Respect the ask, yeah. And I mean, Max is sort of like Seltzer out there, just smiling all the time. No killer instinct.
Frantic.
The smiling thing will kill Maxey in the playoffs if they lose. Mm-hmm. And I can already hear it. I can hear the call of he's too happy out there. No killer instinct.
Well, what's so funny is we just did 2 months of Jalen doesn't show enough emotion. I think it's pretty obvious. Just if you play poorly, people are going to think of things to pick on you with. And if you play great, like your personality is a fantastic part of it. It's literally just like Embiid. Embiid looks the same almost every game. But in the playoffs, although I will say he does check out, it feels like mentally in the playoffs. But I agree. I can already feel the calls from like Chuck from Mount Airy or Black Gritty or someone calling in and saying Maxey looks like he's smiling too much out there. Yeah. I can feel that coming.
Well, Rios in North Philly calls him Smiley, so that's not great.
That's good. Actually, Rios is who I should have said. Actually, Rios is the one. I love when he says, "What's he go like pillow talk or tickle pillow or something."
Man, he's got so many, dude.
I know. I think he says like tickle pillow or something.
No, it's not tickle pillow, but it's something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Whatever. It's good.
Well, he's got eHarmony. He's got
yeah. That's right.
He's got all of that. So an all-time caller. But the idea of getting Maxey off the ball, like, and the more and more the season goes along, it just makes more sense. It allows him to play to his strengths. We haven't seen a huge uptick. Like early in the year, he would have a couple 10 assist games. He had back-to-back 10 assist games. I remember from early in the year. Just hasn't gotten it going from that standpoint. And again, if we buy into the whole positionless basketball or whatever, does it really matter that he's just a 6'1", 2 guard? If you have DeJounte Murray, who's like 6'4", 6'5", he's the point guard, and Maxey plays off it. Is it really the end of the world? I don't know if it is.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. And Maxey is still one of the best 3-point shooters in the league. I still think he's someone, and we've seen it this year. Again, I think tonight was not a huge indictment of the roster. Tonight was just one of those nights. But the problems you're bringing up are fair. I think Maxey is still someone that can carry you for stretches if everything else is going good. Maxey just doesn't feel like someone to me that changes games and that turns things around. I think Murray is more likely to do that. What's interesting about the Murray thing is it seems like it's not going to be that expensive. 2 firsts and like Toby. I guess that's not super cheap, but
would you rather trade for by the way, every podcast now is just turned into
this is something else I was going to say actually before we get into this.
Okay.
I think the other thing that's the issue with this team right now is they know a trade is coming. Like, I know the vibes are great and they all get along. They all know a trade is coming. And I think both the team and the fan base is just sitting around waiting for this trade to happen. Every time they lose, it's, who can trade it? Who can fix it? When they win, it's, imagine when they add it. I bet in that locker room, if you're Morris, if you're Covington, who seems to be dealing with a pretty serious knee injury, so maybe his trade value is not going to be there. But if you're Toby, if you're those guys, you must be thinking, get me to February 9th, because it does feel like the cloud of a trade is hanging over this team.
Yeah, and everyone that's like, wow, I don't know if I want to trade anyone.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a huge
you,
roller coaster.
it's great. It's what makes it a fun season. By the way, I can't believe we're already at the trade deadline. Like
I
it's
know. Feel real. Yeah.
it's just flown by. But like, would you rather trade probably a little more for DeJounte Murray, or would you rather trade like a couple seconds and Morris for Malcolm Brogdon?
I would rather trade more for Murray. I think
I
this is
would
their
too.
chance to get a guy. I think Murray has good upside. I don't think like the stink of the Hawks has rubbed off on him completely yet. I think, obviously being in San Antonio with Pop, Pop, he who by
That
the
got rid
way
of
had
him.
the
Yeah.
yeah. Um I think Murray is the guy. I think Murray can be that number 3 guy. Especially with, he's shooting better this year. As you mentioned, he is the ball handler. Malcolm Brogdon to me is not a game changer. Malcolm Brogdon is just another one of the guys they have. Someone that when Embiid is playing well can really help them, but is not someone that's going to set the temperature for the team that night. I think Murray is more that guy. And if you're going to make a trade at the deadline and go all in, like I would go for that guy and not wait for the offseason.
And the good part about a Murray trade is that it wouldn't cost it's not costing all your
Yeah,
assets.
you're not
So like
emptying the chest for him.
you're getting a pretty good player. Probably has flaws that would come out when I watch him every night,
Mm-hmm.
and the reason why he's getting traded instead of extended.
Yes.
But I like there's obviously pretty decent upside, and someone that I can think can help him. Brogdon again, I would take Brogdon because I think he's a winner basketball player. But it's kind of more the same. And I tell
Yeah,
you
he's just
what,
a guy.
a backcourt of Maxey and Brogdon's pretty short.
Mhm. Yes.
That's a pretty short backcourt. The Lowry thing is I guess semi interesting. I just think he's cooked. Like if
I
they
do so.
wanted, like he's I guess an upgrade over to the Pat Bev spot. But is he an upgrade over Pat Bev? I mean, it's essentially
I don't.
I'd be signing
Yeah.
him for the same thing.
Yeah. I think Lowry, unfortunately, is cooked. From a vibes perspective, if you want to go down that road, I can picture, him coming in, everyone's going crazy. They're happy he's home. He has had, I mean, it's funny, him and DeMar DeRozan, someone else who's also available, were viewed as such playoff losers. And then Lowry goes and wins a title. And now you think of him as like a veteran that can come in and help this team win. I think Lowry, I mean, if you're signing him after the deadline, sure. I mean, if you want to, I don't even know who you would cut, but if you want to just sign him for the end of the bench and he comes every once in a while, yes. But Lowry is not someone that is going to change how I feel about the future of this team or the season. Like he's not someone that in a playoff game, barring injury, can be playing 30 minutes.
You know who like the Lowry signing would remind me of is the Shaq Leonard signing.
Yes,
Like,
that's a perfect one.
it's
Yes.
like, oh, sick, we got Shaq Leonard. We kind of need him. And then you see
Yeah.
Shaq Leonard play, and you're like, I think I'd rather
No,
have Elliott out there.
yeah, I think the Eagles were sinking a little more at that point than the Sixers are right now. But yes, agreed. That would be a similar big name, big excitement. Probably not going to play a ton of minutes or make any kind of impact.
Yeah, but he's from here. So like, so we get a chance to get Kyle Lowry and Marcus Morris rings. Now, if Kyle Lowry plays here, does he get a key to the city? Is it big?
Yes, I think so. Honestly, does he already have one? It wouldn't
Well,
surprise me if he already had one.
I mean,
I mean, he played at Nova, which isn't a
let's
city
put it
school.
this way: he played at Nova. He won a
Right.
title. Like,
I think he got a key to Lower Marion or wherever Villanova is. Where's Villanova? It's not
the
Lower
key to the
Marion.
Poconos? Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
where's
Middle,
Nova?
the middle PA key.
The middle
Yeah,
of Pennsylvania. Is Villanova in Harrisburg?
it might be. I think it's pretty close.
Yeah, Villanova is in Villanova, right? Yes, that's key. The main line.
Is it? Oh yeah, I guess. Yeah.
No, it is. Yeah,
Wait, that doesn't make sense to me. I know I'm
I
coming
agree.
across dumb here,
No, I
but
agree. And
like
then
Temple's not at Temple. Like, is the place named Villanova because of Villanova?
that's
Like, was it?
that's a fair follow up. So then that makes me think about there's like a Wawa, PA, where they say like, that's where Wawa. No,
There's a
no
Wawa,
way.
PA.
There is a Wawa, PA.
Wow.
Technically, yes. It's like between Media and I don't know, like Glen Mills.
I had no idea. So
Dude.
James is saying Villanova's at the main line, and Kyle Lowry does not have a key to the city.
Well,
That seems fair.
Listen, but why does Marcus Morris have one over Kyle Lowry?
Well, he's from Philly, which helps.
Well,
Number
so
one.
is Kyle Lowry.
Yeah, but, that's true. That's
Him
true.
and Pat Gallen played high school basketball together.
People don't talk about that.
Hold on.
Where
All right,
did
James,
Marcus
I need you to
Morris
look
go
up
to
there's a
school?
Wawa, PA before you keep chatting.
I think they're the fact there's a Wawa PA, yeah. James is saying you made up the Wawa thing. I feel like you saw a tweet and got thrown off. There's no way there's a Wawa PA.
Dude, look it
Are you
up.
looking it up?
No, James is gonna look it up. We're gonna continue to cook here.
Okay, go ahead.
No, but like, I don't know. I mean, like,
is there a Sheets PA out by Pittsburgh? Like, I don't think there's a Wawa PA.
This is a fair follow-up. No, it's a fair follow-up.
Thank you.
But Lowry played basketball, high school basketball with Pat Allen. Went to Villanova. Did not go to Kansas. You know, like,
it's a good point. There's no Wawa PA, just like So we're with geography whizzes here right now.
There's a Wawa University. You are correct, but that's more about like that's where they go learn
how
to do Wawa.
The chat is saying there is a Wawa PA. There's a Wawa PA. It's a small territory in Route 1. Two people have said this.
Yes, I know. Yes,
I live in Wawa. This guy is saying. This guy Steve said a lot of things, some not appropriate for the chat, but he's a very active member of the chat right now.
Well, so do you think he lives like in a Wawa or like in Wawa, PA?
That's a good question.
What do you make of both the Morris twins and Wilt Chamberlain leaving Philadelphia to go play at Kansas?
I mean, that's why I don't think Wilt. So I'll actually have a serious point off of this. So people are getting mad that Embiid's considered the Sixers all-time points in a game guy because Wilt did it for whoever the other team was. Wilt stats don't count. Like, they just don't. So I think Embiid very clearly should be viewed as the most points in Sixers history. A lot of people have been on this tip over the last few days. He's very clearly the most points in Sixers history in one game.
Well, yeah. Well, who else would be it?
Wilt.
Why?
Because Wilt scored 100, allegedly.
No, he scored 100 on the Warriors.
Yes, but the Warriors were the Sixers.
No, they weren't.
I thought the Warriors became the Sixers.
No, the Warriors became the Golden State Warriors.
Then, okay, I guess I'm wrong.
Yeah, no. So no matter what, yeah, you're fine. Take a deep breath. And right. No matter what, this is like your Palestra thing. Like,
it's my Palestra thing. You're right.
You're getting mad about something that didn't exist. It was
all right, I'm going to stop with the history of basketball here. But
they were the Syracuse Nationals into the Philadelphia Warriors.
Okay. That's what I was thinking of.
Right.
All right.
And then they became the Golden State Warriors. So
history, just not my strength.
It's not at all your strength. It's
not at all my strength.
Like the Philadelphia.
Jack is always right. Steve is right. Yeah.
The Philadelphia A's, right? They don't combine the stats with the Phillies. You know what I mean?
Well, I like that. I don't think they should.
That's good. That's good. So
yeah, I'm in on that.
I don't need you to get mad about Wilt stats. We're good.
That's your beat.
Our guy.
You're the one that covers Wilt objectively.
Well, someone has to. I mean, poor Wilt, by the way. I mean,
well, you know what's funny? Someone called in. Someone called in the radio and was like super upset about you being joking about Wilt. It was quite the call.
Yeah, well, he told me. I think he told me he wanted Sonny to bend me over his knee and spank me.
Yes, that was it. Yes.
I believe that's what it was going on.
Be quite the scene if you showed up in the living room and.
I know. I'm sure it'd go well for me.
I'm sure you versus Sonny on Wilt would be great.
Yeah, his ability to bring up Wilt in every show is one of
good.
the most
he's a legend. Sonny's a legend.
That's a good bet. All right. One other thing two other things I want to bring up from tonight. Because this is a very important game that we broke down.
From the game? Wow. Okay, let's hear it.
How in are you on Point Ferk?
Not that in.
Not in at all.
That in.
That was a really dope pass. Like
it was very cool. Yes.
Might have been pass of the season. Unless
Ferk always does just enough where you're like, man, maybe there is some potential there, but there just isn't.
Yeah, the problem with Ferk is that he just looks like the JV player that gets to play the varsity game every time he's out there. Like every time he's out there, it's like you're not here. You shouldn't be here at all.
Well, he plays. I will say he does play with the level of confidence I wish Maxey played with.
Oh well, yeah, him House, dude. Like they need to cut Daniel House. Just like
get him off the team.
He cannot help himself because every time he touches the basketball, it's like the old Nick Young meme where it's like it's my time.
Yeah.
Nick Young always or whatever. Yes. I forget how it was worded, but you get the point.
It's tough to describe a meme. It's a high pressure situation once you start.
I know, dude.
It's nothing's worse when you're describing a meme and it's like, oh, I'm not doing a great job at this.
Daniel House always thinks it's his time. Like
Yes,
it's like Daniel House always thinks it's Daniel House time. But yes, so but Point Ferk is something, and then like Batum should just shoot more. Like
I agree.
he's so concerned about making the right pass, and
Yeah,
doing the
well,
correct
where have we heard that?
basketball thing. Yeah, like which I appreciate. I appreciate that. But if
Mm.
you're gonna be the fourth best player on this team, and I feel like every time you shoot it, it's going in. I need you to shoot it more.
I'm down. He's also a guy when he shoots, it feels like it's going in.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'm in on the second take, not the first one.
Good. I'm proud of you. Joel Embiid, 7-time All-Star.
Yes, I have an opinion on this.
Good. I'm proud of you.
You want me to go first, or you got
Yes.
something? Okay.
don't really have an opinion on this. I was more point ferking it right to you.
So I think at this point, we all just need to accept Embiid is properly rated. He is one of the best players in the league. He plays like the best player in the league for long stretches. He's been the best player in the league at this point. I did a poll today on Twitter. He was voted the best athlete in Philly right now, overwhelmingly. I think that because Embiid has been kind of underrated and somewhat disrespected for long stretches, that there's a tendency from the fans to like overcompensate for like defending him. Like he was behind Giannis on some of the media polls. He was behind Giannis on the fan vote. Sorry, like Giannis won a title. Giannis has great playoff moments. Embiid does not. Embiid misses games. Not saying Giannis doesn't, but Embiid has a reputation for missing games because he misses games. So I think Embiid clearly deserves to start in the All-Star game. Clearly one of the best players in the league. He is properly rated, though. I don't believe we have to like make every Embiid thing this unbelievable accomplishment. He's a great player. He deserves. I mean, he's killing it this year, but it's okay to put Giannis ahead of him. Giannis won a title. Embiid's playoff failures have to count against him. Otherwise, when he has great playoff moments, then we can't act like they're big deals. Like, so I'm okay with him being behind Giannis. I'm okay with him getting less fan votes than Giannis, so the media putting them ahead. Embiid has to earn more. He's been a great player. He's not earned like what those players have earned.
I'm already annoyed at what your answer is going to be to this.
Okay.
But Jokic too, then. Like, you can't get all offended by the Jokic thing because Jokic has a title. Jokic has more MVPs. Like, you can't get all worked up about the Jokic stuff and not get worked up about the Giannis stuff.
Yeah, but the difference is I don't like Jokic. Like, I don't like the way he plays. Like, he's just not my type of player.
What do you like about the way Giannis plays?
No. I'm not saying I love Giannis. Giannis is not a very skilled player, but Giannis. But to be fair,
ridiculous. So like, you hate watching both players, but Giannis gets the benefit of the doubt, but Jokic does not.
No, I've accepted Jokic gets the benefit of the doubt. It's my opinion that he shouldn't, but I understand when people put him ahead of Embiid just because of what he's accomplished. Now the difference is he didn't score 50 points in a game 7 to win the title or whatever. Like Jokic played a Mickey Mouse schedule to get there. Giannis's title means way more. So there's that. But the point I'm making is that Embiid hasn't done what those guys have done in the playoffs. It's just a fact. It pains me. I don't want to see Jokic ahead of Embiid on list. I think Embiid is way better at basketball than both of these guys. But Embiid has not accomplished in the playoffs what these two guys have. And so speaking about Giannis here, because we're talking about the All-Star, that Giannis has earned the right to be number one amongst fans and have the media put him first. Like he just has. And when Embiid does those things, I think he will, then the debate will be over. It'll be no debate between these three players.
Well, I also don't know how beloved Joel is around the league. Like, frankly, like I don't know. I don't think
it's fair.
Like I think Giannis is viewed as like, oh my God, Giannis, he's such a freak, yada yada yada, Greek freak. That his corny answer after they lost in the first round last year. Oh my God, what he just gets it.
Well, I was thinking about that quote when people were mad at the Hurts saying it wasn't his turn. It's very similar quotes.
Yeah. I know. Yeah. But no, I think people view Embiid around the league as like flopper, showboaty. Mm-hmm. He has to have that like signature playoff moment for me to think that he kind of shifts the narrative around the league. He's talked about he likes being the villain in one way. I don't really think he likes being the villain.
I think he's embracing it. It's like when I retweet my Von Lay tweet. Right. I'm getting ahead of it.
Well, and as someone who was born, literally a day before Joel Embiid in the same year, like I think we get each other. You know what I mean?
I never realized that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, it makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. Like when I
Yeah.
watch him beat, I watch how I used to be, and I've seen us both mature into the men that we both are and great fathers.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
like it's I same brain wavelength is me and
Joel,
Joel Embiid.
Joel Fritz, Jackie Embiid. I think both of those work.
Yeah, I mean two dominant people in the city of
Yeah, yeah,
Philadelphia.
two dominant alphas, exactly. Yes.
By the way, did you hear in the top 5 of 5 today? Francisco, he did the top 5 people at WIP under the age of 40 that will make the WIP Hall of Fame one day.
Oh, did he? No, I didn't hear
He
this.
did. So
If
number
you don't do the
five,
top five, I don't really tune in.
so number 5 was Buzz Dan Wilson.
The WIP Hall of Fame.
It's a
Okay.
big projection.
Yeah, I mean, look, call your shot. Buzz is great.
long term stock. Long term
Yeah.
stock.
So I guess
Number
Seltzer didn't qualify for this.
No, exactly. I mean, he's almost 50. Like
Yeah.
if we're doing the under 50 list,
Spike
maybe
wouldn't qualify.
Spike wouldn't qualify. Ike wouldn't qualify. Well, Ike not even count for the under 50.
I mean, then me and you have to be 1 and 2.
Well, listen, we'll get there.
Okay.
Number 4, Tom Kelly into
Okay.
the WIP Hall of Fame. Number 3, Elliot Shore-Parks.
Really? Okay.
Number 3,
right.
Elliot Shore-Parks.
All right.
Number 2, Joe Giglio.
Okay. That's fair. I didn't realize
And
Julia was under 40.
Yes, I think he's younger than you.
Nah, I don't think so.
And
I
then,
just don't. We might be around the same age. He might be a year older than me or something like that. But
and then
and
number
you
1,
were 1.
Yeah.
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 Who's in the WIP Hall of Fame?
Just Angelo.
Just Angelo. Okay.
Started with Angelo. It was like Angelo and Tom Berkshire.
No Howard. I guess it's Howard not retired, so he's not in.
I feel like maybe Howard's maybe this year. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think we want to wait for Howard to retire.
They put someone in before Howard.
Yeah, I think this is.
What if we put Spike in?
That would be a great bet. Yeah.
Before Howard.
What if we just had a class next year of like 12 people?
Yeah.
Spike, Ike, Howard, Glenn, just all the.
No, we're like, here's my thing with the WIP Hall of Fame. Are we gonna sell tickets to this thing? You know,
I think so.
Do we have to sell out seats for?
Picture like Tom from Abington showing up in a tux, Herb handing out little pamphlets at the door.
What do you think it's a? What do you think it's a wedding?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's going to be some type of ceremony.
How much do you think? How much do you think people would pay to come to the WIP induction in the little hub?
I think we could get in the hub. I think you get 25 a ticket.
Dude, I'm telling you, when Spike gets down here, like having it at like a real place in Philly, you know,
Would be amazing.
Like have the WIP Hall of Fame induction and make it like a serious bit.
Future Hall of Famer Dan Buzz can lead it.
Buzz Wilson.
Yeah.
But imagine that, right? And then imagine Howard taking it so seriously. And
that would be amazing. Well, Howard welled up when he was in the studio with Spike, right?
No, I know. And I once again, I think what I guess I'm learning about myself is I'm pretty emotionless when it comes to that stuff because in back-to-back weeks, so like when Marks left, I got ripped for not being more emotional. You know?
Yeah, you weren't very emotional on the air.
No.
No.
And then when Howard was choking up talking about Spike, I was like, all right, we got to get to a break.
yeah. All right, 215-592. Yeah, 94-94.
And it's not because I don't care. Like I care. Right. I get awkward and emotional.
You need to move on from it.
Yeah, I don't.
Did Spike get emotional?
No, come on, man. Spike's been there, done that. It's different. Hey, as a dad, yeah, it's different watching your son accomplish things.
Well, one day when Walker's, doing the top 5 at 5, and you can well up. Yeah.
Walker started to. He thinks he's playing fetch, so he just is like he gets the ball and just drops it and then laughs. And he thinks he's like throwing it. It's a big step. It's a big step.
It's his first step towards baseball.
Yeah, exactly right. Or basketball. I mean, listen, Dad's
also
got a basketball podcast.
I'm gonna guess baseball.
I can't believe we're 45 minutes in this podcast, and we probably have at least another hour to discuss the Doc Rivers to the Bucks.
Yes.
I mean, first off, what a weasel. He's there he gets hired as a consultant a month before, and then within the next month, he's got a $40 million contract signed through 2026. Like, are we serious? I mean, like,
This
what's
is not going
going
to be a
on?
popular take.
Oh, here we go.
I just don't hate Doc. Like he won a lot of games here. They lost in the second round, but I don't hate Joel. Like Joel was there when they lost in the second round. I don't hate Tyrese Maxey. Maxey was there when they lost in the second round. I think Nick Nurse is a better head coach than Doc Rivers. I think Doc didn't come across to me like he was super invested, right? Like the golfing and all those things. But man, I don't hate Doc. Like I enjoy the memes making fun of him. I think it'll be fun for Sixers fans like to root against him. But I don't I wish him not success because I want the Sixers to beat the
Why do
Bucks.
you go so soft on me sometimes? Like
I'm just
every once in a
pause.
while you have to do the thing, right? Like, do you remember the old press conferences essentially making fun of the city for the Ben stuff? Like, do you remember celebrate
Wait, what
them?
was he supposed to say? What's he supposed to say at
He
the
doesn't
podium?
have to
Like, yeah,
go
Ben
over the
sucks.
top. No, but he doesn't have to do like if you know basketball, like he doesn't need to
Yeah.
shoot ever. Like what are you
Yeah,
stupid?
I agree with Will.
Only
He's defending his guy. Like he had to say what he had to say.
it's not. It's there's a way to do it without also patronizing the fans
I
for
agree.
probably being right.
Yes.
And like the
Well,
whole
definitely being right.
only in Philadelphia would they not appreciate such a great player? Like just like, come
Cherish
on,
him.
cherish him, cherish things he
Yeah.
does well. Now I do think credit to Doc. It's maybe one of my 5 favorite press conference moments since producing the show. Was the Paul Reed victory tour.
Very good. Yeah.
Ended up being right. I mean, I think if Spike's gonna be so hardcore pro Paul Reed, can't stand Paul Reed.
I agree.
Like that's the official clap your hands.
I do like the
position.
really big headband though. Those are the headbands I used to wear, like the super thick ones.
And Paul Reed is Ike's out on a player when he wears 44, which is Ike's college number, and
Oh
he
yeah.
can't stand him. He can't stand
Yeah.
Paul Reed.
Ike's
He
big
thinks
into
he-
the numbers. I
yeah.
respect as a former
What's
athlete.
what's your number growing? What was your number growing up? 2.
Too. Too.
This is not for everyone. It's not a visual medium. So
Well, I knew you would say it. I knew you like the impact there.
Yeah,
The nice little pause. Yeah.
You give a little lip smack for no reason.
What do you? Let me guess. 34
Too. Yeah, of course. Yeah,
after your boy
yeah. Doc,
Doc.
my boy. Yeah.
The only Doc. The number rank the Docs in Philly.
Did you enjoy your Doc Holliday the conversation on?
Yeah, masterclass. You guys, you and Ike. I was just like, honestly, I was like, all right,
You didn't
fine,
feel like
whatever.
fighting it. Yeah, you didn't.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, fine.
Which I
Doc.
appreciate.
I even brought it up on the morning show. I was like, and I guess you have to include Doc. Just to toss
that's
you guys a bone. Yeah.
Way to throw
you
it
beat
in
me
there.
on that one.
Way to throw it in there.
Yeah.
So would you rather be up 3-1 against Doc or down 3-1 against Doc?
It's a good one. I mean, the tough thing with Joel and Doc is one of them will find a way to lose. And you just have to hope that it's not Joel.
They can't. No, I mean for the last.
I think I'd rather be up 3-1. I'd rather be up.
Me
3-1.
too. Just close it out. Don't
Yeah,
stress us
yeah.
out.
Agreed.
But for the last, the things that have happened in Philly sports in the last 2 years, right? The Super Bowl, World Series, NLCS, Eagles collapse, Sixers Celtics. Like it's been a pretty tough go of it.
It has.
Losing a playoff series to Doc, I think would I don't know if it takes the cake, but it's up there.
That's what I think people are underestimating. Everyone's like, oh, nice, Doc's here. Can't wait to watch him lose. It would be very Sixers to lose to Doc. Like, that is the next painful blow that's coming. Like, it was either losing to Ben or Doc, right?
Yeah, and the thing
Ben's
is,
not going to happen, so.
I think at this point, I'd rather lose to Ben. I think I'd rather lose to Ben in the playoff series.
I'd rather lose to Doc. Losing to Ben would be something this city could not handle. Imagine a world where Ben comes back and he's averaging and again, this is not going to happen, but he's averaging 20, 11, and 7. And he's just like running up and down the floor. Like I couldn't handle it.
He physically, he
dunks the ball in Game 7 to eliminate the Sixers.
No, but you're acting like that's. I mean, you're talking about like summer league Ben numbers there. Like,
right?
He's gonna come back and average 8, 7, and 5.
Well, but I'm saying it wouldn't matter if Ben's not the reason they lose. It wouldn't hurt as bad. Like losing to Ben and he's the reason they lose, or one of the best players on their team. Like that would be harder than losing.
Well,
to
yeah, but that's also never gonna happen again.
Yeah,
if
no, I
Ben's
agree.
just there.
I feel bad for Ben.
I feel bad for Ben too.
Yeah, that's big of you.
That's where we can agree. We can agree. Like,
Thank you.
I'm over the Ben jokes. That was very 3 years
Yeah,
ago.
I think we all didn't handle the Ben situation well.
Were you just gonna be like? I think we all looked ourselves in the mirror and understood we didn't handle the Ben.
Yeah, I think we all could learn something from the handling of Ben Simmons
and Carson.
and Carson.
But Doc being back is just, it adds such a fun wrinkle. Could be round 1 against Jimmy Butler, round 2 against Doc, round 3 against the Celtics, and round 4 against Jokic. I mean,
the ultimate, or Harden. Would you rather play Jokic or Harden?
Jokic.
Me too.
Jokic.
Only because Harden's better.
Not because Harden's better, but because, I don't know, like Kawhi and PG.
I'd much rather play Jokic. Because I think Embiid would dominate Jokic, and they don't have the players. Like, the concern would be the Clippers are all perimeter guys. Like Maxey versus them, I'd rather play Jokic.
Maxey would score 10 points a game.
I know. Well, that's what's coming. Is in the playoffs, they're not going to make a big deal at the deadline, and it'll be because they believe in Maxey. And then in the playoffs, Maxey will come up small. Like, that's how this year will go. It won't be Embiid. It'll be the Maxey year where everyone's mad at Maxey.
I still think we're a year away from mad at Maxey. I think we have one more Joel. I think we have one more Joel outrage year. And
what do you think about Joel getting 70% of the vote for best player in the city?
I think it's 70% for 70 points.
It's actually 74, but yeah.
Well, I mean, I think it's recency. I think, at least the city's right, So, yeah. And it shows how down people are about Jalen.
I think that's the main takeaway, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, Bryce should probably get like 25% of the vote.
Yeah, Bryce got like 20%.
It's fine. Embiid's
it's the best player in the city. Yeah.
He's an all-timer. Like, I mean, we're talking about most talented athletes to ever play in the city. I think Joel Embiid is on that list. I mean,
him in 2010 Doc.
Him in 2010 Holiday.
Exactly.
Yeah, in 2017 Carson.
Never forget.
Never forget. But yeah, it's a scheduled loss tonight in Indiana.
Yeah. Nuggets on Saturday. I think Joel will play. Jokic got poked in the eye tonight. I think he's going to play. So
did you poke him?
No, I did not poke him.
You didn't run on the court and poke him?
No, it was not me. When Embiid went down tonight, or like originally hurt his knee, I was thinking he's not going to play in Denver, but I think he's going to. Like, it's an ABC game, if I'm not mistaken. He can only miss so many more games. Like, I think he plays.
Well, he has to, because I'm sick and tired of him ducking him in Denver.
Yeah, exactly.
Just go play. I'm at the point now whenever Embiid falls, I'm like, he's gonna be all right, which is probably a bad thing to say into a microphone because
it's knock on wood right here.
This could easily get cut, but
yeah,
he's gonna be fine. Either way, again, we mentioned at the beginning, mention it now. Next Thursday, Elliot and I will be at McGurk's in Horsham. It's an unbelievable spot. Can't wait to have the food. Can't wait to hang out with everyone.
Egg rolls, already thinking about it.
Yep. All presented by Coors Light. So come on out and we'll have a great time. For Jack Fritz and Elliot Shore Parks, this has been another edition of Clap Your Hands.